Hi, it's Craig Matthews here from Insurance House Life. This is the first of our Trusted Advisor series of videos. This one's about buy-sell insurance. It concentrates more on the why this is a good idea for your clients rather than how you put it all together. And it's a quick story about some clients that I used to know called Sam and Dave. Now, Sam and Dave had grown up together. Their families knew each other really well. They were best mates. They owned a car dealership and the block of land that it sat on. Their kids referred to them as Uncle Sam and Uncle Dave. And because they were such good friends, they thought they don't need legal agreements or insurance or anything like that. They had a verbal understanding that in the event of their deaths, they would continue to pay the salary to each other's wife. And they thought that was more practical than going through the insurance and legals and all that type of thing. Now, unfortunately, as luck would have it, a little bit later, Dave did pass away. So Sam, who was in business with Dave, now finds himself in business with Dave's wife. And this wasn't so bad for Sam because he honoured the agreement that he had with Dave and he continued to pay his salary to Dave's wife, and this went on for 5 years. Now, unfortunately, a little bit after that, Dave's wife also passed away. So poor old Sam, who started business with Dave and was then in business with Dave's wife, now finds himself in business with Dave's 3 kids. Now, the 3 kids don't want to have anything to do with the car business, and Sam doesn't really like having them in his business telling him what to do. So they decide the best way to go forward is for Sam to buy them out. Now, a little while ago, when they first discussed this, Sam and Dave had agreed that the business is worth $1.5 million. But on advice from their solicitor, the kids go and get an independent valuation done, and it comes in at $2.5 million. So straight away, there's a bit of an argument between the parties about what the buyout figure should be and how the whole thing's going to work, and the process stalls. So the kids decide they're going to start to play a few games with Sam. So the first thing they do is they said that his salary was too high, it was a breach of his director's duties, and they forced him to take a pay cut. And the next thing they did was even better. They reported Sam to the ATO for paying their mother. They said that she hadn't worked a day in the business when Sam had been saying that she was an employee, and that was falsifying statutory returns. So everything went bad for Sam, and in the end, he ended up paying $2.2 million to the boys for the shares of the business and the legal costs. But it didn't have to be like this. If in the beginning they'd said, let's get some buy-sell insurance, we'll update our shareholders agreement, things would have been a lot different. In that situation, unfortunately, Dave would have still passed away, and Sam would have been in business with Dave's wife, just as he was before. But what would have happened is Dave's life insurance would have paid out. That would have gone to Dave's wife, and she would have walked away happy because she's got fair market value for Dave's share of the business. In addition to that, their legal agreement would have triggered, which would have required Dave's wife to transfer his shares to Sam, meaning Sam had 100% control of the business and didn't have to answer to anyone. So Sam would have been happy as well. And if you look at the cost there, about $5,400 in their situation, then think back to the payout to the kids was $2.2 million. So there's a really big difference here. And I'm sure you can think of quite a few of your clients that this type of thing would apply to. So if you think this would apply to your clients or you have questions or anything like that, feel free to give us a call. This last slide here has a few good questions to ask your clients. I think the best one of those is, who would be their new business partner if their shareholder passed away? If you can get them to answer that and think about the repercussions of things like this happening, you'll get a good conversation going. So if you've got any questions, feel free to give anyone at Insurance House Life a call. I'm Craig Matthews. Thanks very much.